friends, happy spring. We are going to make some Easter crafts today that you can do with your kids. And all you need is paper, construction paper, scrapbook paper, cardstock, whatever you have will work. First off, we're going to start by making a cute Easter card. I'm taking my pretty scrapbook paper with Easter theme on it, and I'm cutting out an egg shape. I cheated and used a little wooden egg that I have, but you could just freehand this. You can do these as big or as small as you want, and you could even do it on plain white paper and then let the kids watercolor the eggs. Once you have your eggs cut out, take a piece of cardstock, fold it in half to make it a card, and decorate your front with your cutout eggs or your watercolored eggs. And then I took some green cardstock and cut it so it looked like grass. So it sort of looked like my eggs were sitting in the grass. I used a glue stick to glue everything down on the front, and then one of my favorite markers to write Happy Easter on the inside. Super easy, and you can send this grandma and grandpa, a neighbor, anybody you like. Our next craft is an egg ornament, and I'm again using my scrapbook paper. I do want to warn you that if you want to use scrapbook paper or a pattern paper, it's going to work better if you have the pattern on both sides. Otherwise, it's going to be a little harder to match it up, but you can still do it. Or you could just use solid color. You could do all one color, all one pattern, or you could mix it up like I did. I went ahead and cut out 8 shapes. You could do it with as few as 4. Then I glued them together, and you can see how I'm doing that. And basically I made 2 halves of my egg that were identical. Then I took some ribbon that I had sitting around and strung a bead on it just to give it a little bit of weight, although that's an optional thing. Tied a knot so that I've got a little hanger now, and I went ahead and glued that ribbon to the inside of the egg and sandwiched it between my 2 halves of the egg. When I was done, I went ahead and hung it up, and I've got a really cute and easy and original Easter craft. Well, it wouldn't be Easter without a bunny, so that's what we're doing next. Again, take plain or pattern paper, doesn't matter, and I'm making 2 little rolls of paper that I'm just taping in place. You'll see in a minute I had to switch to glue because there are some tape thieves in my house, and suddenly I was out of tape. I don't know if that ever happens to you. So from here, I just freehanded it and made my bunny's feet that my paper rolls could sit on, and that would give it a little stability, and also my ears. And I combined my plain paper and my pattern paper for the ears. I will tell you that if you are doing like me and you've got one kind of paper that's a little heavier than the other, do yourself a favor and put the heavier paper on the bottom. Don't do what I did because my bunny is a little unstable, but you'll see how I fixed that in just a second. Now I'm going to use my markers to decorate my bunny. You can make this as fancy or as simple as you like. I kept it kind of simple, but this would be really cute if you glued on some buttons or bows or any other embellishments that you had. And of course, you probably want to put a cottontail on his behind. I can't believe that I forgot to do that. Now, what I thought this would be so cute for is for your Easter dinner to use as a place setting for each person. And since my bunny didn't want to stand up, I used a little clothespin and used a scrap of my paper and wrote names for everybody in my family, and then used the clothespin to pin it to my bunny. And that clothespin gave me just enough heft to keep it standing upright, and then I can put that at the place setting for each person at my table. So cute. For our last project, we're going to use negative space and colored paper to make a beautiful picture with crosses to remind us of Easter. I'm starting off with a heavy piece of paper. I used white cardstock. If you don't have cardstock, you could even cut the back off of the cereal box. It really doesn't matter what color it is because you're going to cover it completely up, but you do want it to be kind of sturdy. And then I free-handed black construction paper to make a hill and 3 crosses, and I just sort of dry fitted them onto my paper to make sure that they looked the way that I wanted them to look, and then I set them aside until I was ready to use them. It's okay if your crosses aren't perfect, because remember, the hymn is the old rugged cross, not the new perfect cross. So now I'm using my scrapbook paper again, but you could still use plain colored construction paper or whatever paper you have. I'm cutting a variety of strips. I'm not being careful about making them all exactly the same width. It really doesn't matter. I just need enough to cover up my whole white paper. If you do solid colors, you might even want to make it look like a sunrise where you go from the darker colors at the top to the lighter colors at the bottom. That would be super beautiful. Now I'm just using my glue stick to glue all these strips on, and I'm doing it randomly, no particular pattern, but it doesn't really matter. And once I have that all filled, then I'm going to give it a haircut on the sides, because you see that my scrapbook paper is a different size than my cardstock. So I had to trim it off on each side. That was actually kind of fun. And then I went ahead and glued down my black pieces that I had cut in the beginning. When you're all done, you're going to see this beautiful picture of all the colors in the background and the negative space of the black crosses and the hill. So pretty. I used my favorite metallic marker at the bottom of this project to write "He is risen." And I want to take a minute to remind you that we don't say Jesus was risen. We don't talk about it in the past. It's in the present. Jesus is risen, and he continues to be risen in our hearts every day. I hope these ideas inspire you to sit down sometime soon with your kids and make some fun Easter crafts that you can do with just a few materials that you probably already have around the house. Happy Easter, friends. I love you, and I'll see you soon.